platform and speaking with ClementChea today, and we continue to speak about the feud that is going on between Louis Bacon and Peter Nygaard at Life at Key. And I've done many of these programs, ClementChea, and we get a little tired of doing it, but from time to time there are various angles to the story, and being a responsible media, we have to, a part of a responsible media, we have to look at the various angles that we hear from time to time. And one of the things that took place recently is the issuance of some flyer on our street corners.
Yeah. I was unfortunately a recipient of one of those. As you know, when people stand on the sidewalk, on the side of the streets, and they're handing out flyers, eager persons like myself want to know what's for sale, maybe it's something that I'm interested in, and then you get it and you look at it and you're like, I'm even so sorry. So I put my window down. A flyer depicting Mr. Nygaard as a king of the sex slaves of the Bahamas. First and foremost, I've never ever heard the Bahamas being even, what's the word I want to use, recognized as a place where sex slaves even exist. Okay, far be it from me, some individual, I think his name is Justin Sands, did an expose about Mr. Nygaard. I had an opportunity to read it. Someone actually sent it to my phone, and to me, it was very demoralizing, very demeaning, and it was cruel and very, very disingenuous.
This fellow Justin Sands worked for Nygaard at
one point. From what I've never met him. I don't know him. If he would have walked into the studio, I would not be able to identify him. Apparently, he was an employee at one point in time, and as you know, as a business owner, you will sometimes have disgruntled staff members. You're not going to be able to please everybody. Some staff members may feel as if you favor one staff member over the other, or they get more leeway with you. In speaking with Mr. Nygaard, apparently this Justin Sands character, apparently he became one of those persons who felt maybe he was worth more than he was being paid, or maybe his assignments, or maybe whatever his job description was, should have been credited more financially as opposed to what he was getting. And I think he took it upon himself to start doing his own expose. As a matter of fact, I think he started doing it while he was still an employee, unbeknownst to Mr. Nygaard, because he was still doing filming and photographs and this and that. And I think when Mr. Nygaard was having functions,
this is like blackmail.
Yeah, technically, well, it can be blackmail, but it also, it also shows too that he could have been working for someone else.
Isn't that obvious? Isn't it obvious that with this ongoing feud, that this
it's coincidental.
Sands man, nothing coincidental.
I say coincidental, wink, wink.
This has to be something that is contrived.
Yeah, it seems to be just trumped up allegations and innuendos to, like, once again discredit and besmirch the name of Mr. Nygaard. And I can say, I've been to a few of his events, night events, what they call pamper parties, and little events he have there, and he invites you into his home. And like I said, he's just an unusual person. He goes against the grain. His neighbor would probably never ever do that. Many persons in the Life of Key community. But as a matter of fact, I think he's the only person that does that. Okay, I think for some persons, to their comfort, thank God he lives on the far end of the island, so they don't have to hear all the commotion that's going on, all the music and stuff that they say is a disturbance. But this guy, Justin Sands, I think he just went out on a limb and just started throwing wild accusations everywhere. When I read the story, I was dumbfounded. I was like, wow, and I didn't even know if he knew. So I copied it and I emailed it to him, and I even WhatsApped it to him. I'm like, Chief, you saw this? And then he started explaining to me who this guy was. And one thing came to mind is that somewhere in the story, he said that police were called in and they had to go and rescue this girl who was there. Her passport was taken. She was brought into the country illegally and all this stuff. Like I said, I've never heard about him being arrested. I mean, if the police were to come to your home to rescue some female that was supposedly being kept against her will. Why wasn't Mr. Jones taken into custody if only for questioning?
But hasn't that same girl repudiated that? Hasn't she said
well, here's the
nothing happened?
Well, here's the thing. All this, with everything I read that this gentleman has printed and posted out there, how come he's the only person that has this information, has this evidence? All these girls, take for instance, let's go off the track for a second. Bill Cosby. When one girl came out, multiple persons came out. Maybe that one girl gave the other girls courage and the nerve to say, look, if she can do it, I can do it. Not one girl has come out yet against Mr. Nygaard. Not one female. Not one female has come out and said anything about him. And I think if one did, and there were others, they could probably say, you know what? If she can do it, I can do it. Because some people lack the confidence and the courage to do those things. So they live with it and even die with it in their, on their conscience. And so, like I said, where are the girls? Where are these victims? Where are these persons that was treated so bad, that were tortured and degraded and were sexually assaulted and made to do all these horrendous things and sexual acts? Where are they? And another thing that got my attention, apparently he has gone into exile, so to say, in Canada. He's fearing for his life. He's asked for protection. He fears for his life. Now, Mr. Jones, let's be honest here. Do you think Mr. Nygaard is a very popular person in Canada? Do you think he's more of a celebrity in Canada? Do you think if I'm going to do an expose and I'm in fear for my life, I am going to run to the country where my nemesis is like almost a king? I went to Canada at Mr. Nygaard's, not at his request. I had a vacation time, and he said, if you want to come, you can come. And I can tell you, when I was there, he drove me around, showed me a lot of his shops and his warehouses, and showed me how his stuff is done over there. Everybody knows him. It's like if you walk downtown, you get about 30 people say, hey, Mr. Jones, hey, Mr. Jones, hey, Randall. And that's how it was with him. Very approachable. And no one was like, look at that freak. Everybody was like, we went to this place called Polo Park Mall, and everybody was like, hey, there's Peter. And people wanted to take pictures with him. People wanted to shake his hand. And I mean, the only thing I didn't see people do was ask for his autograph. But he is that popular. So if you fear for your life, if this man is so dangerous, and this man is so cunning, and if he's so vile and vicious, why would you go to the country where he could practically have you taken out if that was something he was interested in doing? It just makes no sense to me. Because the last I heard is that he went to Canada in exile or some kind of hiding because he's afraid. That don't make sense to me, because if you are in Canada and I want you, I could find you, because money does a lot of strange things.
Yeah, but beyond that, the lady who he claims was
she was staunch against it. First of all, she was insulted. I think he mentioned her name. I think he called her name, and I think she was more upset that her name being called as opposed to the allegation, because she knew the allegations were false.
Yeah, I think she took legal action as well.
I don't think the allegations were really, really hurtful to her, but I think the fact that he called her name was more disingenuous, because it's like, if you had said, first of all, he said there were multiple females. If he had referred to the females as Jane Doe 1, Jane Doe 2, Jane Doe 3, then I think for her it wouldn't have mattered. Even if he described her to the T, that could be anybody. But to call her actual name, I think that's really, really what got her riled up to respond. Said, look, this never happened.
Yeah, but there's certain sinister things involved here. He would not have had the wherewithal to get these pamphlets produced and organized in such a way to put them on the street, to seek to create any embarrassment. Obviously, this is a part of a conspiracy.
Well, definitely, first of all, the photos on this pamphlet are his photos. It came from his camera. He took those pictures. Those are pictures of events or females at Mr. Nygaard's residence. And so it's just a matter of just providing the photos to whoever hired you to create this propaganda, to bring this man to utter shame. And like I said, I mean, Stevie Wonder could see it's just a big. This is like who killed Kennedy.
But what I'm saying is, it's contrived.
Very much.
It's contrived, and it is an organized,
very organized,
negative public relations exercise.
It's a very organized
to bring Peter Nygaard into disrepute
Right.
and odium from the public.
Yes, and even with regards to the topic or the title, sex slave, if I were in government at that time and it was said, and whether I was in tourism, or I think if I was in tourism, I would have said something as relates. If I don't want to look like I'm defending him because I don't want to get involved, and but I would definitely said something about the sex slave part, because CNN always does big exposés on sex slaves around the world. The Bahamas has never been mentioned as even a transit point for any kind of sex slave. I know human trafficking and drug trafficking has been a big concern, but never have we ever been mentioned in the same sentence as the word sex slave. So to insinuate that this man is the king of sex slaves in the Bahamas, that was totally ingenuous, and I can tell you, like I said, I'm still waiting to meet this individual who has now been described as an animal.
Violence is described in a good many ways, and you can be violent at the point of a knife, or the point of a gun, or some instrument, or baseball bat or whatever. But violence is also about besmirching the character of people.
Verbal violence.
And this is a kind of violence that has been visited on Peter Nygaard.
Yes, I refer to it as verbal violence. And the sad thing is that anything that touches WhatsApp, it goes worldwide automatic. And these things go out very quickly, and a lot of persons who are that naive and that gullible, and those, like I said, that don't actually know the man, they would always assume, I knew something was wrong with him. I just knew it. But like I said, it's very obvious that it's a clear attempt to bring this man to shame, to pull him down, to tear down everything he's been worked so hard for, and all he's asking for is to rebuild his home so he could go right back to living the way he used to, the way that he loves to. Nobody wants to invite someone to their home. He can't even take people. He's such a loving, but he likes to not show off, but he likes to show people what the other side is like. And he would normally take you around and someone show you the different rooms in his home, but he can't do it because everything's still in ashes. So he can't even do that. You have to stay downstairs in the dance area around the pool and stuff, and that's it, because that area is virtually untouched. But he can't even give you the tour that he wants to give you because there's nothing to show.
Let's take a final break. We'll come right back.